Tonight, you're going to see how possible it is for you to have a chance to own and operate your own business. Now, also, I want to point out also, these opportunities are only available to military veterans. This is one of the few franchise opportunities that does, it's only open to military veterans. So it's pretty cool. I want to give you a brief glimpse of what you're about to see in tonight's session. I want to introduce you to Eric Ryan. Eric represents many of us. Forgive him, he's Air Force, but he is a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force Reserves. He opened his own Geforce parking lot striping franchise just over 1 year ago. I don't think he ever envisioned himself doing what he's doing, but here he is. And you'll see the emotion in Eric and really what Geforce and what Veteran Service Brands has done for him. Edgar, go ahead and roll tape if you would.
Geforce has changed my life. Yeah, I've always my hometown's 150 people. Most of them really hardworking, blue-collar folks. The whole county was missing a lot of opportunities in the 70s and 80s, and the common thinking was if you were going to make something yourself, you had to leave. And I did. I turned 18, and a week later, I was in basic training. So I did not have an easy path, and I would not give that up for anything. I've clawed and scratched my way to anything that I've got. But thanks to Geforce, I will, at some point, I think, feel as successful as I possibly could. It's not about money and awards and all of that necessarily. It's all part of it. It's all linked, but it's about the relationships, the bonds, the support, knowing that other people genuinely care about what you do when you get out of bed, how your day goes, and knowing that if you're struggling, there's somebody there for you. Part of this whole emotion here is knowing what Geforce has done for my brothers and sisters out there too, Man, it's don't get me wrong, it's hard work out there, but Geforce is an opportunity. And if you just work and make the most of that opportunity, they won't let you fail.
Guys, if you decide to open a Veteran Service Brands franchise, you're not just going to be working for yourselves. I think you can see from Eric's video, you're going to have a team of people behind you, pulling for you, supporting you at every step, training you. It's kind of like a military operation, and it's led by someone from our tribe, a fellow veteran. And I'm going to, in a moment here, introduce you to the captain of that ship, the founder and CEO of Veteran Service Brands. Jack Child enlisted in the Army, got out, used his GI Bill to enroll at Embry-Riddle University, and upon graduation, Jack spent 7 years flying C-141s for the Air Force. Upon leaving active duty, Jack joined Delta Airlines, where he spent 32 years as an airline pilot and an instructor pilot, and most recently flying as a captain on the Airbus A350. In 2005, Jack founded Black Dog Seal Coat and later Yellow Dog Parking Lot Striping. And this eventually led to Geforce and Veteran Service Brands, as well as some of the other brands that you're going to hear about this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you a great American, a savvy businessman, and a man who wants to share that success and give fellow veterans a chance to have that same opportunity. My friend, Mr. Jack Child.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank all the attendees for taking time out of your busy schedules this evening. Before we get started, I'd like to give you a little tour of World Headquarters. I think we've got a B-roll handy there.
We do.
Keep in mind, it was about
Jack Child,
in
I'm
this
founder of
film.
Veteran Service Brands. Thanks for attending. I also want to thank the folks at Victory Media and GI Jobs for giving us this opportunity to show you a little bit about what we're about. Come on in and take a look at our warehouse. Do a little show and tell here. This is our first warehouse. And we started with Geforce, and this is our service trailer. It's 8.5 by 16 wide. And we put these machines over here into the trailer and head off to the job along with some paint. These machines, good news and bad news. The bad news, they're quite dirty. The good news, that means they're out working. They have onboard computers, lasers. They do a really great job for us. And they also have ride-on attachments. Here's our service vehicle. We call it the G truck. Both the G truck and the trailer generate a lot of phone calls. People see the trucks. They like what we're about, and they give us a call to come give them a bid and do some work for them. It's all about generating interest and buzz and attention in the marketplace. Here's our green monster, as I call it. Some of the awards we've won, and we've been featured in a number of online magazines and print magazines over the years, kind of highlighting what we're doing and how we're putting veterans into business. I'll scan over here to the left side of the truck, as well as our Mach 1, brand new Mach 1 Sprinter van. This is for our epoxy floors concept, and it's just come out of being freshly wrapped. Take a look at that. That's an attention getter. It's all about getting people to recognize your brand, pick up the phone and call you, or go online. Quite a bit of equipment involved with epoxy floor coatings. First thing you have to do is prepare the surface. We call this the beast. This thing weighs about 900 pounds. We have a winch that we're attaching inside that'll help us pull it up the ramp. This is a small grinder for those small corners. Got a specially made vacuum, so we're not creating dust, and a very high-powered, high voltage generator to run our grinder. All of that goes up the ramp along with our epoxy coatings and other materials and equipment that we need to do the epoxy concrete floors. That van is just now being outfitted. It's not completed yet. Here's a little view of the rest of our green monster. We've got our branches of service up there. No coasties yet, and we're even willing to consider a waiver for the Space Force folks, tongue in cheek. Over here, we've got what I call the Wall of Fame. It started out with Vish Munasamy and his wife Milani, both Army veterans. And this is a list of all our veterans and their partners who have joined Geforce and now Mach 1, Field Ops, and Paint Corps as we grow. We operate under the 3 guiding principles of service, integrity, and pride. We're looking for like-minded individuals to join our team who want to own service-based businesses and let us help them create businesses that they can be proud of. Thanks for our little tour here, and I'll be seeing you in a moment on the webinar. Hi, I'm Jack.
All right. So I'm going to hit you with a lot of information, so buckle up. As Chris mentioned, I've been in the franchise space for a while now. Try as I might with my previous brands, I had a hard time recruiting veterans to my team. I did have a couple, and they were high performers, but I really couldn't hit that critical mass of fellow veterans. So, simply put, I was trying to recruit veterans because you guys and gals, you show up on time in uniform and you get things done. You're committed to service. I had a secret about this industry. It's really a fascinating industry with lots of opportunities. And I wanted to share that secret with my fellow veterans. And so the question became, how do I do a better job of recruiting veterans into this industry? And the answer came back as, well, if I build the brand around the veterans themselves, we should have a better chance of recruiting. And that's borne out for us quite well. So given my military and flying background, we came up with the name Geforce, and we haven't looked back. We sold our first Geforce franchise in 2018, and we just closed on number 32. I'm happy to say just last week. Felipe Hale, 8 years in the Air Force, combat medic, and he'll be serving the Palm Beach area. In 3 short years, we've grown to be the largest brand in our industry, and that's no small accomplishment. There are folks that have been in this industry for 30, 40 years, and we've outgrown them in just 3 short years. And the reason we were able to do that is because we have the right folks on our team. We've got fellow veterans, they're following our system, doing the work, and most importantly, they're supporting each other and making happy customers. This is a sample of some of the folks that we have on our team. Our customers love working with veterans. I think we've got over 330 years combined military service with our team currently. We don't exploit our veteran status. We earn every dollar we make by being the very best in the industry. I should note, not any one of these folks featured or anyone on our team ever in their wildest imaginations thought they'd be in the parking lot striping business, but they saw our ads, they saw that we were veteran focused, and it was enough to, kind of pique their interest and pick up the phone and give us a call.
Jack, I want to double down on that point if I can interrupt you for a second. Little kids want to grow up and be little boys, want to grow up and be policemen and firemen, and little girls want to grow up and be teachers and nurses and executives and whatever it is, right? But nobody kind of wakes up and says, little kids don't walk around saying, I want to be an owner of a parking lot striping business. And, but the truth of the matter is that these are great businesses. You don't need to have any experience in the industry. And that's the beautiful thing about franchising, is the fact that, the recipe is there for you. The business plan is done for you, and what veterans are really good at, which is executing a plan and training and perfecting that system that's taught in military service. That's all you've got to do, right? Roll your sleeves up, hard work, follow the recipe, and control your own destiny.
Great points, Chris. And because of our military service, that's why I believe the service industry is a great spot for many, many veterans to consider opening a business. Right now, the service industry, residential, commercial, it shows no sign of abatement. So as we watched Geforce grow, we knew we were onto something really special, and we wanted to share that success with even more veterans across the country. But we were kind of selling out our territories rather quickly. We think we're going to cap out at about 50 locations around the country because they're so large. The territories are so large. And there are some markets where we're just really not going to pursue. But we said, well, how can we expand our success story? And the way to do that was to explore other brands in the service space. So we came up, we didn't do it by design, but the pieces just kind of fell together for us, literally launching 3 brands almost at the exact same time, which meant a lot of website development, a lot of franchise documents to be created, a lot of branding, a lot of work the last few months to get these 3 brands off the ground. And those 3 brands are Field Ops Athletic Field Markings, Mach 1 Epoxy Floors, and PaintCore, our house and commercial painting franchise. They're all formed under the Veteran Service Brands umbrella. There's power in numbers, and while each brand is unique, you can see the interconnectivity between the brands. They are standalone brands, but clearly we feel there'll be a lot of networking opportunities between localized franchise owners between the various brands. And of course, the common underlying thread is every one of the owners will be a veteran. Field Ops, that's kind of our sort of our entry level franchise or business, if you will. We had quite a few folks coming to Geforce. They liked the concept, but they couldn't get across the finish line because of funding. And I wanted to create a super low cost franchise opportunity. And we did that by looking at the athletic field marking space. It's very fractured. It's kind of wide open to a brand like ours. You can get into this business for about $20,000 all in if you've got a suitable pickup truck. And that includes a very low $10,000 franchise fee. The rest of that covers your vehicle wrap, some paint, and the equipment's fairly low cost. We think this is a really neat side gig, side hustle that you could start working part-time and then eventually grow it into something more full-time. A lot of these requests are repeat requests. If you do a soccer field on a Thursday, the grass is going to grow, the paint's going to wear off. Either a week or two from now, they're going to be asking you to come back and do that.
Yeah, Jack, that's I mean, that's amazing. You can actually start a business on a credit card, right? And just incredible. I love the fact that this is the kind of franchise that you can get into as a side business. It's not an all-in kind of a thing. It's a way to sort of dip your toe in the water and see if it's for you. I'm thinking some of the folks that are in the audience today may have a question around, what's things like, to sort of envision themselves in it. If you take a typical soccer field, talk to us about how long does it take to stripe one of those? How much do you charge? What kind of, material costs are involved in that sort of thing?
Sure. So a new layout, bare grass, no markings on the ground. After you've had some experience, one man or woman could do it. Might take you about 2.5 hours. You might have $30 in paint, $40 in paint. We also have a drone option. Of course, it's quite a bit more, another $26,000 investment, but you can do that same field in about 20 minutes using the drone technology. So that's an option. And we picture a lot of our folks coming in, starting with the basic machinery, and then realizing how much demand there is and how much time they could save and investing in that drone technology. And what you might charge, you might, when you're first starting out, you might charge, $300, $400. But after demand picks up, you're getting repeat business. You can move that up to $400, $500, $600. And you look at the margins on that, it's really hard to duplicate.
Yeah, what a great little business. And we probably have a lot of folks, a lot of veterans that maybe have some experience with drones and would want to take that route even faster.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
And for this business, I like to say it's a business that's fun to own, but it doesn't own you. As many businesses do, they'll consume you 24/7, 7 days a week. This is not that business. It's really pretty unique. Next up in our family of franchise opportunities for veterans, Mach 1 epoxy floor coatings. The home improvement market is booming. The commercial space market is booming. The demand for premium coatings on concrete has never been greater, and we do not see any sign of abatement there either. Epoxy floors aren't just for the rich guy with his Ferrari any longer. Upper middle class and middle class folks, they want to protect their garage and their home and improve their living space as well. And like I mentioned, in the commercial space, any concrete that's exposed in any commercial environment needs either a sealer or a coating like we have here. So really it's kind of the sky's the limit. The residential market is our bread and butter, kind of steady Eddie work there. And then you flex up and spike for the big commercial projects. It's an owner operator designed business that as you get busier, we start wanting you to get off the machine, hire someone else, and you start focusing on running your business, not working in your business. Really a neat business. And it's extremely satisfying to take a plain old garage concrete floor and have it look like it's a granite surface. It's pretty cool. We've got
Jack, you mentioned owner operator to owner manager. How long would you envision it sort of taking till you get to a point where the business can support you being an owner manager?
Well, there are a lot of variables. Great question. The franchise partner will know when it's time, when he can't keep up with quotes, when he's having a difficulty keeping his schedule, he's getting overbooked. He'll start crying uncle, and it's time to train that employee to become his primary service provider. And then he starts weaning himself off the machine, helping once in a while or flexing up on big commercial jobs, but letting the crew do the work and focusing on customer satisfaction and building that pipeline of work. So if I had to pick a timeline, I'd say about a year. It could happen faster.
Nice.
We've got great equipment packages, as I showed you in our tour earlier, and our franchise fee is an industry low $25,000.
Outstanding. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we've got PaintCore. This brand started out as American Veteran Painting in Tampa, Florida. It was started by Burgess Perry. That's the gentleman on the right. He's a 10-year Army veteran with 2 tours in Iraq. That's his wife to his immediate right. Burgess happened to be the brother-in-law of our very first Geforce franchisee. So while they were, doing family time, they were talking about business, and our Geforce franchisee was telling him about what's happening over Geforce. He's talking about what's happening in his painting business. He started that business in 2017, and he's grown to 12 service vehicles and 24 technicians. He's done an incredible job of growing that business, scaling it, and he's developed some incredible in-house specialized systems that allow him to scale and enjoy a very attractive lifestyle. He saw what we were doing at Geforce, and he wanted to do the same thing with his painting business. He wanted to help other veterans become successful. And one obstacle we found immediately was American Veteran Painting could not get through the United States Patent and Trademark Office. It was too, what they called too descriptive a term. So we had to come up with something creative, and we came up with PaintCore, as in Marine Corps. Once we rebranded, he ripped off the vinyl from all his vehicles, changed all his uniforms, built a new website, and now we're ready to rock and roll under the name PaintCore. Now, keep in mind, PaintCore is designed for an owner manager strictly. We're not looking for someone who loves to paint houses, frankly. If you love to paint houses, this actually, oddly, is probably not a good fit for you, because we don't want you with a paintbrush in your hand. We don't want you up on a ladder. We want you to scale this business and follow Burgess's system to scale quickly to that second, fourth, fifth, eighth, 10th truck and grow a really big business and dominate your market. So this is designed for someone who has a very strong appetite for entrepreneurial efforts. We do envision PaintCore to be our biggest brand around the country by far, just because there's so much demand for interior, exterior painting.
Jack, you and I were talking earlier, when we were kids, I think we always had a paintbrush or a sponge to wash dad's car, or a lawnmower or a rake in our hand. And, these days people outsource everything. It's one of those things. I can definitely see that business absolutely booming, and I'm sure it is right now as well. But on the flip side of that, or not the flip side of that, but the other point on that is, painting's probably something that at least most people feel like they can do. They know how to do it. It's not a specialized thing like striping a field or putting epoxy on a concrete floor. So, what are some of the advantages of using a franchise system for a paint business?
A great question. First of all, is the branding, the systems that are in place, the training. Yes, any of us could go get a paintbrush and paint a house, but running a large scale painting operation, really, you have to have the right systems in place to do that. And Burgess is very tech savvy, and he immersed himself in that industry. He's hired very expensive mentors over the year to help him scale, and he's got some incredible system. His online training program is really impressive. You'll be trained at PaintCore headquarters in Tampa, and when you bring your initial crew down with you, and you'll see what it takes to operate a really big painting business. We go up against the big names, the Certa Pros, the Fresh 360s, or 360 Painting, Fresh Coat. He competes and wins against those guys all day, every day of the week.
One of the things, real quick, one of the things we've seen so many budding entrepreneurs make mistakes on is they tend to oversimplify, businesses. And it's one thing to be able to paint. It's another thing to be able to run a painting business. And there's so many little nuances in the processes and the structure little things like knowing what to outsource and what to insource, that the franchise system really gives you a leg up and gives you an advantage, and well worth, kind of hanging a shingle under that as opposed to a mom and pop. So yeah, great insights. Thank you.
And another point, we buy Sherwin-Williams paints for Geforce, and we're buying Sherwin-Williams paints for PaintCore, and that gives us enormous buying power around the country at a much greater discount than a single operator could ever imagine. And the more you buy, the cheaper the price, and that lowers your costs and makes you more profitable. One other little nuance of an advantage of belonging to a bigger system. So that kind of concludes PaintCore, and then we'll go lastly to our first franchise, and that's Geforce. That one's, it's more mature than the others. We've got 32 locations, should have 40 by the end of the year. We've had such great luck with Geforce, and it's inspired us to bring on these other 3 brands as well. I've got such an amazing team. We just finished our annual conference down in Charlotte, and it was just a remarkable event. I wish you could experience it to understand what it means to be a part of this team. It's you kind of have to experience it to understand it, frankly. So that's the 4 brands. We've got 4 brands with one singular mission, and that is to put our fellow veterans, into successful service businesses. Veteran Service Brands acts as the umbrella company. It helps recruit and helps to scale the businesses. If you want to be in the service business, we think we have one of these 4 is going to be a good fit for you. I'm often asked, well, what do you get when you buy a franchise? And when you buy a franchise, technically you're paying for the training. That franchise fee is going to help cover the training. The trade secrets will be shared with you. The franchise support system's in place. You get to enjoy all the branding and marketing. You don't have to wonder, how do I create an ad, and how do I get the phone to ring? We've done all of that for you. You just plug in and play. Of course, you'll be able to use our trademarks. And there's just really much more to this than we could share tonight in 40 minutes. We've got all sorts of technologies in the background that are supporting our franchisees. Here's a neat little slide. We'll make sure you get a copy of this in a follow-up email. Kind of gives you a breakdown of the various brands. Field ops, the population of your territory is about 1 million people. Franchise fee is only $10,000. The investment is as low as $19,000 to upwards of $50,000, depending on whether you have a pickup. Geforce, our maximum territory is about 4 million people. Your investment ranges anywhere from $24,000 to $99,000. Typically, it's in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. Mach 1, 600,000 population. I'll point out that's about double many of the competing epoxy floor population sizes, and about half the franchise fee. PaintCore, there are major painting franchises out there that are offering as little as 50 to 100,000 population. We're up at 350, which is far greater than the other brands, and the franchise fee is half of that. But we do have a special announcement to make for this group tonight. If we could go to our discount, our founders discount. Because these are new brands, we're looking for founders. We're looking for folks who want to get in on the ground floor. Some people would be terrified to be one of the first ones in a franchise, and others would really kind of get excited about that. They would want to help shape that brand and help grow it. If you're in that group that this excites you, we're talking to you tonight. If you're in the group that's a little more cautious, that's okay. We'll be here a year, 2, 3 years from now. Not sure our territories will be here, but we'll stay in touch, and you can watch us grow. So the field ops, we're going to cut the franchise fee in half to $5,000. Mach 1 and PaintCore, we're knocking off $15,000. So you're paying a $10,000 franchise fee. It's really kind of unheard of these days to buy into a system or systems like we have for as low as $10,000. It's, the others aren't doing it. I assure you, if you look at the average cost for a franchise fee, we're 35 to 50,000 typically. Geforce is more mature. The founder's discount is long since gone, but you still get a discount for every year of service. You get 1% off the franchise fee up to a max of 15%, excuse me.
Yeah, Jack, that territory that you showed in the earlier one, it's so important. And now you kind of reiterated it here as well. For every, population, right? The good news is if you're in that territory and you own that territory, you're obviously not going to have to compete, and you've been given a pretty sizable market to go after. The downside is if you're not first in that territory and it happens to be a territory that you're interested in owning, you're late to the game. Too bad, too sad. So, it's you do a great job of pointing out the pros and cons, but certainly if you've got an interest and this is something that fires you up, something I certainly wouldn't wait too long on, not only because of the discounts, but also the opportunity to get your franchise territory of choice.
And this is the initial fee. It's a one-time fee. It's a 7-year contract. You can renew at that point for a very small renewal fee. It's not an annual fee. It's just the initial fee. Someone had a question on the chat. I noticed that popped up. So one thing we learned through Geforce is funding is typically the greatest challenge. We've gotten, every one of our franchisees has been funded from one source or another. Many went through the Small Business Administration SBA loan process. We have a third party that helps our franchise prospects, get through that process. They pay a small fee, but they hold their hand, help them cross the T's, dot the I's, and work through that somewhat painful paperwork process. But we do get them across the finish line. There are other options that are out there. Sherwin-Williams actually funds and gives us a 6-month interest-free on our machines with a third down. That's a great way to leverage our strength and our brands to get you sort of free money for 6 months to help you get started. We've got a lot of other options. Please don't let funding scare you. Let's explore all of those before you throw in the towel on finding funding. Let's see. I would like to talk about our value proposition, if you will. Once you become a member of Veteran Service Brands, you're going to have proven systems that you can use. We've got customized software, those founders discounts, marketing materials that work, logos and trademarks. I've got an incredible technology team. I wish I could have a webinar just about them to tell you about the amazing things that they've done to us to put us on the map on the internet and dominate Google search results. I can't speak highly enough. In fact, they won Vendor of the Year for us at our local awards banquet, or our annual awards banquet just recently. Take a look at all of our websites. You'll see what I'm talking about. Those folks also manage your online ads through Google pay-per-click. And a term that's often thrown around that, folks who, run websites, oh, I do search engine optimization, and all they do is flood the website with keywords. That doesn't work anymore. So you have to do all sorts of things on the back end of a website. And it's smoke and mirrors and magic to me, but they know how to do that. And then the last thing, and it's the thing that I don't really think you can put a price on, is the camaraderie that we have with our team at Geforce. And we're 100% confident if we recruit the same caliber of people that we did for Geforce in these other brands, they will be unstoppable, and you'll have lifelong friends. You've got partners, mentors, collaborators. It's a remarkable thing to see a group of veterans get together, meet for the first time via the phone or in person, become instantly dedicated to the other's success. And I think that's the most important thing that, frankly, we're selling it with Veteran Service Brands. Let's see where we left off. That's a lot to digest, folks. I hope you'll sign up for the for the phone interviews. But I would like to finish with one last interview from Jason and Jeanette Scranton out of Cleveland, Ohio. Not retired not too long ago from the Marines, 43 years combined. And as it should be, Jeanette outranked Jason. So let's hear what they have to say.
Never seen a trailer or a truck for parking lot striping in my life. Now I have, though, the Geforce trailers. It really adds so much value to have a nationwide franchise versus just a local business. And sure, we could do just a local business. We probably could have figured this out on our own, but why? Why do that alone when you can do it together with a group of people who have the same goal as you?
There was like no pressure, honestly. If it was a sales pitch, it didn't feel like it. It just felt like more like, hey, if this is a right fit, let's do it. If it's not, then let's not do it.
Everybody's helpful, friendly, encouraging. If you have a problem, they'll answer the phone or they'll call you back. We've never run a business. We spent combined 43 years in the Marine Corps. The benefit of having those people to reach out to makes this a really easy business to get into for us.
It was really great. We got here for the training. Bish was able to tell us, like, hey, you're going to be at this location. We got right into it. That was really made it a lot easier in trying to, you can watch a video, someone can explain it to you, but just having him, get you on the machine and letting you go, and he's not afraid if you make a mistake, we can go back and fix it. Don't worry about it. Get your hands dirty and do it. That, to me, made it so much easier. Geforce has a whole series of videos and training that you go through before you get here. I knew a lot of things before I got here, so I got to read it, see someone else do it, and then I come down here and do it. And that's made it so much easier.
I'm really looking forward to hiring other veterans and welcoming other people to the team that can join us in our success. You can have one crew, you can have two crews, you can have three crews, and ideally you'll have those people that you trust and you can pay them well and keep them on your staff. You're never going to run out of a need for parking lot striping. Veterans helping veterans is kind of what it's about, and that was really intriguing to us.
Jason and Jeanette are doing a remarkable job. They reported to me yesterday that they already have, this was their first year in 2021. They already have on the books 1.5 times pre-sold what they did in 2021 for 2022. So they're off to an incredible start. And if I could just kind of repeat what Jason said, there's no hard sell here. Either you get it, you understand what we're doing, or you don't. We'll quickly know from our phone calls and interactions whether we're a good fit for you and you're a good fit for us. And it's not for everyone, but we're looking for someone who really understands what we're doing and wants to participate and is here to help their fellow veterans, not just themselves. And so, Chris and attendees, that's my pitch for tonight. And I thank you so much for taking that time with me.
Jack, we're not going to let you walk away yet. We're gonna take some questions, but no, that was fantastic. Hey, I had a question on the Geforce. You mentioned making a mistake. So, what do you do when you make a mistake on a parking lot striping job? Just curious how you fix that one.
So, I know a guy. So if you're using latex, it's pretty easy. A latex paint, you have bottles of water handy with some rags. You quick hit it with some water. You sop it up. If you're using an acetone paint, we use carburetor cleaner. Kind of clean that up. You will make mistakes, and everyone, even some of the best, make mistakes. You can typically render them. As long as you catch them early. If you miss it until a little later, it takes a little more elbow grease to remove that paint. It's a lot easier to put it down correctly than to take it off.
Yeah, I would imagine. Hey, listen, it is, I just, and I want to thank you for bringing these opportunities, to life and for making them unique to veterans, for literally, as you mentioned, designing them around veterans. You could choose to do a lot of things, and you choose to do this. And I just think it's incredibly inspirational and providing a civilian opportunity for this military community. And it's something that really inspires our team here. And I know those beliefs are aligned with what you and your team do. So really awesome stuff. So, just to kind of review, the benefits here are just amazing. If I could sort of recap some of your comments here, these are fast. It's quick to get into these things. It's very easy to get into them. You don't need to have any prior experience on anything. Secondly, I think the veteran culture is amazing. A lot of times, veterans are looking for these soft landing jobs, which typically means going to work for the federal government, right? Or going to work for a defense contractor. You've provided a new definition and a new wrinkle on a soft landing job. Veterans get to go to a familiar culture where, the boss is a veteran, the coworkers are veterans, and I think they're going to thrive in that kind of an environment. It's just amazing. It's a side gig. You've got a range of options that are available to people, from keeping your day job and doing this side business on the weekends and after hours, all the way to, a paint corps owner manager situation where you might be managing many crews in quite a large size business. And you've got sort of a life cycle of being able to offer all those types of options for folks. And then finally, affordable. I mean, my goodness, some of these can be put on a credit card. I think the highest one was, at the high end of the highest one, was just over 6 figures. But most of that is backed by assets, hard assets that you're purchasing. And then the founder discounts are amazing, right? The opportunity to get into these things at the ground floor. In the Navy, we call those plank owners. And the opportunity to get into these things is just is cool, and to be able to have those discounts is awesome. And have your pick of the litter in terms of the territories that you want to be able to operate in. So very good stuff. Listen, guys, we're close to being kind of done with some of the formal stuff, and then we're going to get to questions at the end. I want to again just point out these territories are limited. It's not going to take long to build them out, and it certainly won't take long to get these discounted areas fully sold out. So if you've got an interest, we definitely encourage you to fill out the application and request an interview with Jack and his team. He's going to have himself plus 3 of his coworkers available this entire weekend for you to go and request an interview. You can see the link there at the bottom of the slide, gijobs.com/interview-request. And you can go ahead and go there now if you'd like. If you're interested in moving forward, you can do that anytime up until noon tomorrow. At this time, I want to pass it over back to Rachel. Hoorah, go Marine Corps. She's going to kind of walk us through some of the process of requesting that interview. Rachel?
All right, thanks, Chris. So give me just one second, move this over. All right, so I just put this link in the chat for you all. You can complete this request now, later tonight, or tomorrow morning, but the deadline for this is tomorrow at noon Eastern time. So the sooner you get it in, the better, because your request will immediately be available to Jack and his team, and they are on it. So they'll be reviewing these requests after the presentation and throughout the next couple of days to determine who's qualified for an interview. Spaces are limited. We have openings on Saturday and Sunday, but once an interview invitation has been sent, the slots will be filled on a first come, first served basis. So if you qualify, you'll get an email with a link to schedule a 20-minute interview on either Saturday or Sunday. If you don't get selected for an interview, that's all right. You'll get an email stating the reason, and we'll provide you with some guidance on next steps in order to qualify in the future. So like I said, responses will go out on a rolling basis starting as early as tonight and running through Friday afternoon. So once you choose on this page, whether you want a Saturday or a Sunday interview, you'll click that button. But I do want to note that it's important that you're available for the entire duration of the event. So it's going to run from 10 to 4:30 Eastern time. And don't forget, daylight savings time starts on Sunday. So make sure you set your clocks back if that's the day you're choosing. But like I said, the interview spots will be first come, first serve. So you might not, if you're only available for a portion of it, you might not get the time that you're wanting. So once you click that, whatever day you want, you'll come here. This registration page, you can either register or log in if you've attended one of our virtual career fairs before. And here is the event registration. So essentially, this is just your interview request. This is where you're going to fill out all your information and Jack's team is going to come and look at it. So the top is pretty basic information, where you're currently located, your education level, and all fields with an asterisk are required. So make sure you fill everything in. Then the form will ask about your service. And since I am an imposter, I will use my husband's information. Marine Corps, 12 years. And here we have the franchise opportunities you're interested in. And this is important so that Jack and his team can make sure to partner you with the best rep for what you're interested in. And you can select 1, 2, all 4, whatever you're interested in. And as we mentioned earlier, the territories are limited. So if one is claimed, no other franchisees can open one in that area. So it's important for Jack's team to know where you'd like to set up. You can put in multiple locations here. It's just a text field. I put in Hawaii because a girl can dream. And as you all know, starting a franchise is an investment. So Jack's team needs to know where you currently stand financially. And if you aren't sure or prefer not to disclose, you can choose that option here on credit score and net worth. But there is a prefer not to disclose there. And if you just have no idea, you can click that one too. But I do encourage you to look into that information prior to your interview on Saturday. The purchase time frame is also important. You can select more than one if you're not really sure what your time frame is, but that just gives Jack an idea of where you are in the overall process. All right, and then concerns about opening a franchise. You might have many, you might have none. This is a required field, so you've got to put something in there. And this will, again, give the team a better idea of where you are in the process. So once you've submitted this and the team reviews it, say they want to invite you to meet, then you'll get an email, and the email will bring you back to this page, and you will have something that looks like this. So I've already accepted this invite. Yours will say pending, and here are all the available times. Like I said, first come, first serve basis. So if you've been approved, I've been approved, I get here first. We both want noon. I'm getting noon because I was in here first. So this is what that will look like. And then it will just be on your schedule and you'll know to be there at that time. And you can always enter the booth early too, the lobby early. So here's a sneak peek of our lobby. Let me back out a little bit. And in here, you'll see your schedule as well as all of the different booths. So the booths are labeled by brand, but also they have the representative name. So if you've chosen more than one brand, you're essentially meeting with a person, not going into the booth that you're interested in, possibly. So that's the booth and that's the registration. So if you have any questions, my email is in the acceptance email that goes out to you. So feel free to reach out with any questions. All right, Chris, back to you.
Rachel, thanks. And I do know that the Marine Corps has a pretty strong presence in Hawaii. So I would say, tell John to make nice with his detailer and that might happen for you. So
we ask for it every time.
it hasn't happened yet. You're in Missouri, so maybe he didn't do, something happened there, but no, it's all good. No, thank you. That was great. And really appreciate you kind of walking everybody through that. So we are, if you haven't asked, there's been tons and tons of great questions that have come in, and I'm being passed more and more here. That's great. I got some stuff on a paper plate. That's awesome. I love it. And lots of stuff through the chat. So I'm going to get to that. If there's any last minute questions you have, go ahead and throw them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them tonight. If we can't, we're going to broadcast answers to some of those key questions out after this tonight via email. But let's start here. So the first question we have, and this is good because we should have made this clearer. If we schedule an interview for this weekend, are we obligated to pay this weekend? Jack, I'm going to take that one and I'll let you respond. The answer is no. This is not, you are not signing up to purchase one of Jack's franchises if you request an interview this weekend. This weekend is for you to have an opportunity to talk to his team one-on-one and to see if there is a good mutual match there. And if that goes, if both parties like what they see, then it would move on to the next step. Jack, if you could kind of elaborate on that, what are those next steps and how long does that typically take?
Sure. So there's, we typically have a few phone calls, get to know each other, answer questions, kind of get all those questions, addressed. And then we'll send out an application. It's a little more involved, tell us a little bit more about you. Once we have that application, we can send the franchise disclosure document. It's a pretty large legal document, whether you're buying a Slushy franchise, a Geforce franchise, or a McDonald's. They all have the same format that's dictated by the Federal Trade Commission. And it's called a disclosure document for a reason. It discloses all sorts of information. Our trademarks, the registration on the trademarks, who's doing this, what are you selling, what do I get? It's an awesome document, and you can learn a lot, whether it's our brand or other brands, from that document. And if you were ready to go tomorrow and you had cash in hand, I could not legally sell you a franchise. You have to have that franchise disclosure document in your hands for 14 days. Years and years ago, franchise sales were kind of known as high pressure. They'd invite you in and sign here, and you left and you didn't even know what you really bought. So they kind of created this, I call it a 14-day cooling off period. You might get excited about something and emotionally you want to make that decision, but we want you to have that time to talk to your spouse, your parents, your kids, your priest, rabbi, yoga instructor, accountant, lawyer, all those people that, your support team, have them look at the document with you and help you make sure that it's the right decision for you. Of course, while that's going on, you're typically applying for funding. I think the quickest I ever brought someone on from phone call to signing was just under 60 days. They were ready to go. They had funding in place, and it went pretty quickly.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, that is fast. Jack, another question here. How quickly after folks start their franchise before they're kind of up and, once they sign, purchase the franchise, they go through training, kind of walk through, that process and how long does it generally take before they start seeing business come in and they're kind of really running their business?
Sure. So training runs about 4 or 5 days long. We will be building the website pages for their location before they're trained. And so we'll have that web page up. And as people are conducting internet searches, we've had folks who've had work already lined up who had yet to go through training. And typically we can postpone that work until they are fully trained. And they could be, finishing training in Tampa, driving home on Friday, and they could be working as early as Monday. We can turn on Google ad campaigns literally overnight, and that's the one way that we can get you noticed on the internet rather quickly is through Google ads. They're very, very effective. Over time, the organic search results should bypass and overtake your Google ads, but initially we lean heavily on Google ads to generate those leads, and we get you working. Now, if you're opening a Geforce franchise and you sign in December, it's cold and it's in Chicago, Illinois, you're not going to be working until the weather breaks.
Yep, move to Hawaii. If you're another question here, Jack, from the crowd. So after training, is there a coach or a mentor assigned to a new franchisee, a new franchise owner?
That's a good question. We do assign of course, I act as, kind of the master mentor, if you will. My partner, Craig LeCaire, who is a former franchisee of mine, he's also acting in that role. We have a franchise operations officer, plus we assign one of the local franchisees to that new franchisee. That's kind of their big brother, big sister. And frankly, the whole team acts like that, but we do designate one for sure.
Another one here, Jack. Does the franchise fee include any sort of legal consultation or employer insurance protections or anything along those lines?
It does not. It covers what we showed on that slide, you get the training, the trademarks, the logos. You should seek your own outside counsel. And it is a requirement that you are insured with business insurance. I'm not sure about the insurance question there, but when you run your business and you start your franchise, we insist that you are insured properly. And that way, if you hire an employee, they have workers' compensation insurance. If they were to be injured, you have that covered. So
Here's a good one. Again, yeah, probably should have clarified this, but is the franchise fee annual or is that a one-time charge?
that's a one-time charge. We do charge a royalty on sales, and depending on, they're slightly different. Mach 1 and Geforce have a scaled franchise from 7% of sales down to 4%. And so does Field Ops, depending on how much you sell. The more you sell, the lower the rate goes. Paint Core is a straight 7% royalty. Our scaled royalties are kind of unique in the industry. And, once you start getting into higher and higher volume of sales, your rates come down to help put more money in your pocket. You still get the same level of support, but it's really rewarding performance.
Guys, we have so many great questions. I'm going to go over time a little bit here, if it's okay with everybody. If you need to pop off, go ahead. If there's a great show coming on at 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, otherwise, if you can hang, we'll spend a few more minutes doing this. Here's a question. Is Field Ops exclusively limited to an owner-operator model, or can it also be held as an owner-manager model?
Sure. I mean, there's no limitation there. Obviously, there'd be less left over after you're paying someone to do that. But for instance, I've got some vets who want to, their son's a high school teacher, or maybe he's in college and they're trying to find some employment for them. You can hire someone to do that work for sure. Absolutely. But we seem to have designed it to be that owner operator, one man show, if you will. But you could certainly, if you had an employee that you wanted to put to work like that, absolutely.
Here's an interesting one, Jack. Most of these businesses are, sort of labor intensive. And this person asks, how do we compete with folks that might be paying labor under the table?
Well, there are always low cost providers out there. We don't, I often joke, it's not really a joke, that if we're the low bidder, we probably made a mistake in the bid. We don't want to be the low cost provider. You could chase that. You could chase the low cost guys and operators, and everybody loses. We don't operate like that. We provide a premium service. We charge a slight premium or higher for our service, and people are willing to do that. I tend to not worry about the competition. I worry about how we operate. And you can get yourself all wrapped up about some silly price that somebody got. There's so much other work out there. Don't worry about that. Just focus on the jobs that make money. Don't waste your time chasing work just for the sake of work. Go after stuff that makes you money.
Yeah, the other thing that that question reminded me of is we've all been burned by mom and pop operators with home-based businesses or contractors or what have you. I think I can speak for everybody when I say that. And when you're dealing with a franchise, you're dealing with a mothership, you're dealing with a network, you're dealing with a professional organization that has all the proper compliance things in place. And there's a certain level of trust there. And I think this one is doubled down by the fact that, you're dealing with veterans. And I don't think it's trite to say that veterans subscribe to an honor concept and a code of ethics. And when they wear that veteran brand on their sleeve, there's probably a natural trust factor there of people wanting to have those types of people, in their homes, trusting them with their homes, and with various, with their businesses to do that kind of work, and then trusting that they're going to bring in good people. and the job's going to be quality.
Yeah, I particularly like that last question because it really it's one of the fears people have about being in the service industry. Oh, there's, some guy that would undercut me. They say in the service world, there are three things: quality, service, and price. At low price, meaning the lowest price, you only get to pick two. Nobody gets to do all three. I don't know of any real business that sustains that gives you the highest quality, the highest service at the lowest price. That's really hard, if not impossible, to accomplish. So we focus on quality and service, and price will find itself for what we do.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, listen, we're good. We're 5 after the hour. We're gonna cut that off. But any questions that we did not get to, we're gonna go ahead and send that out. Some other folks had asked about getting access to the slides in the presentation after the fact. I think we've got a solution there. Can anybody speak to that specifically, Rachel? Oh, there will be a.
I will check
ahead,
with
yes,
Steve.
yes.
He would be the boss of that, but I don't see any issue as long as Jack is okay with us sharing all this information.
Sure.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
we'll make it
I'm
happen.
told there might be a live replay that's going to be happening. So we'll send that out, and we'll send out answers to some of the questions we didn't get to. So, okay. Hey, listen, I want to thank you again, Jack, and the team, the great team behind you for coming here tonight and for sharing that and for doing what you've done here with this creation of these great businesses. Rachel, I want to thank you for co-hosting tonight, for walking everybody through that process, and for being involved the next couple of days as we schedule these interviews for this weekend. And I want to thank some of the behind the scenes folks, Sean and Adam and Steve and Edgar, doing some great work back there prepping for this. Guys, we're going to bring more of these to you in the future. We're very happy to be able to bring these types of opportunities to the veteran community, and we wanted to kick off with a great one. And Jack and Veteran Service Brands did not disappoint. Listen, last thing, if you're interested to see if you've got what it takes to own your own franchise, please complete that application as soon as possible. These matchmaking slots on Saturday and Sunday will be filled on a first come, first served basis, and the deadline to submit again is no later than noon tomorrow, but sooner is better. I want to congratulate you all for coming. I want to wish everybody here the best of luck in competing for those opportunities to own a Veteran Service Brands franchise. And on behalf of the men and the women of GI Jobs and Veteran Service Brands, I wish you all great success in your next step. Thank you for coming tonight. Have a great night. Bye.
Thank you all.